Cristiano Ronaldo's contract with Al Nassr is expiring next summer, and with him being 39 years old, he has a very important decision to make. Keep playing, or is it time to finally hang up the boots? Besides the World Cup, Ronaldo has won everything in the football world, but there's still one thing he dreams of, which is playing 1 year with his son Cristiano Jr. The only problem is he's 14 years old, and the minimum age requirement for a senior team call-up is 16, which means Ronaldo would have to play another 2 years before that's even possible. Luckily, Ronaldo is a freak athlete, and thanks to his strict diet and conditioning, he was able to keep playing for another 2 years until his son turned 16. With a newfound motivation, Ronaldo is looking to write his final chapter. We have breaking news! Cristiano Ronaldo announces his return to Europe, signing a 1-year contract with Sporting FC. This will be Ronaldo's final season of his career, with the ultimate goal of lifting his 6th Champions League trophy. But this time, it will be a lot more special as he'll be doing it alongside his son, Cristiano Jr. He's been training hard for the last 2 years, and at 16 years old, he's already a 76 overall. With the season opener hours away, fans arrived to the stadium early, waiting for Ronaldo to make his long-awaited return, and he'll be stepping on the pitch wearing his iconic number 28. Although they had to wait until the second half for a goal, Ronaldo's celebration would finally be heard by the voices of 50,000 fans in what would be a memorable night as the hosts take the game 1-0. While you would expect a positive night to carry over, the next few weeks would be the complete opposite. Because while Ronaldo was still scoring lots of goals, the defense was letting in just as many. It's pretty obvious that Sporting are no Real Madrid. They don't have the quality of players Ronaldo was used to playing with, so it's going to take a full team effort if they want to lift the Champions League trophy. Ronaldo on his end is doing his best at taking on the mentor role on and off the field. After all, he was once a young teenager playing for this Sporting team, and he's doing everything possible to share his experience, hoping that it translates into results. But there is bound to be some pretty tough losses. 3-0 down in the Lisbon Derby. It's not looking good. But there would be no time to dwell on that result because the first group stage match is upon us. Ronaldo might have been away from the Champions League for a few years, but make no mistake, this is still his competition, and he would remind people of that by scoring only 13 minutes into the game. While Frankfurt would level the score a little bit later, they would pick up a red card, and with the man advantage, Ronaldo would score his second goal of the night. All Sporting had to do is defend the lead and not switch off. Well, that's easier said than done, as Colomwani would take advantage of poor marking to level the game at 2. That was some shocking defending, and this draw actually feels like a loss. While Cristiano Jr. hasn't seen much playing time, he's been observing from the bench, and he's showing good signs of progress in training. In one of his recent substitute appearances, he would provide the game-winning assist, and if he continues to play well off the bench, he could earn himself a spot in the starting 11 sooner rather than later. But until then, it's time for the second group stage match. Once again, we see how important Ronaldo is in the Champions League as he provides a world-class assist to Pedro Goncalves, whose extra effort puts them up a goal. Oh my days, that ball from Ronaldo was insane. Sporting would lead for 60 minutes, but they would once again fall into old habits, conceding 2 consecutive goals. Luckily, Sporting can rely on the most clutch player of all time to salvage a point, as Ronaldo's 88th-minute equalizer saved Sporting from a disastrous result. In the following week, Benfica would eliminate Sporting in their round of 16 matchup of the League Cup, but there was some positives as we got to see Cristiano Jr. in action, and he was pretty impressive. The coaching staff was happy with his performance, giving him another start in the next league game, where he would provide an assist to a spotter before being returned the favor late in the game, which would end up being the game winner. The team was definitely making progress, and it was starting to show because in the Champions League, they would go on to win twice against Spurs. Their next matchup against Olympique Marseille ended in a draw, and in the final group stage match, Cristiano Jr. became the youngest player to start in the Champions League. This game had it all. We got to see vintage Ronaldo curling it in top corner. We got to see Cristiano Jr. being instrumental in the build-up, and the chemistry with his spotter is growing by the game, and he would actually pick up his first Champions League assist. But there's still some improvement to be made because they're still making some pretty bad mistakes. Luckily, it wouldn't impact the game as the final result would be a 3-1 victory, securing their spot in the round of 16. The quest for number 6 continues. Next stop, Stamford Bridge. With that match being 2 months away, the team will have lots of time to improve, especially defensively, because there's no room for mistakes in the knockout stages. And over the next 9 games, they did show improvement, conceding fewer goals and were actually actually able to record a few clean sheets, which is a great confidence booster. One of those clean sheets came in the rematch of the Lisbon Derby, a night to be remembered as Cristiano Jr. would open the scoring with an insane goal, and of course the moment of the night would be Ronaldo's celebration after putting the game to bed. The fans will definitely be remembering that moment for a very long time. Cristiano Jr. also became a regular starter during this time, and he would go on to pick up a total of 5 goals and 3 assists over this stretch of 9 games. He is developing very fast, and at this rate, he's likely to play a role against Chelsea. While the team showed very big improvements compared to earlier in the season, management wants to give Ronaldo the best chance at lifting the UCL trophy, and that means getting reinforcements for the squad. And since Ronaldo joined on a minimum contract, there's room for a couple signings. Ronaldo called up his friend Diogo Dalot in Manchester, and the two sides were able to agree on a 6-month loan. Matheus Nunes, who was tired of sitting on the bench at Manchester City, also decided to sign on a 6-month loan, and that is a big addition for the midfield. With 2 new signings and the improvements made over the last 2 months, the squad now heads to Stamford Bridge to take on Chelsea as the quest for number 6 continues. But Sporting would be stunned only minutes into the game as Enzo Fernandez would split the defense, leaving Nicholas Jackson all alone, and unlike in real life, he's in great scoring form. Were these 2 months of preparation about to be for nothing? If there was any doubt in the players' minds, Ronaldo's game-tying goal would allow the team to play with more confidence, allowing them to eventually take the lead. In the second leg, Chelsea would get off to a good start, peppering the keeper with shots, and while Franco was doing a good job at keeping the ball out of the net, eventually Nkunku would put one past him. That would end up being the only goal scored, and we were headed to penalties. A scenario that could have been avoided had Ronaldo not put this shot wide at the 119th minute. After Cristiano Jr. courageously took and scored his penalty, Franco Israel would make the save that puts them through to the quarterfinals. Franco Israel just had the game of his career, and now we go up against RB Leipzig in the quarterfinals. Over the next 2 legs, we would get to see Sporting put on a dominant performance, and we're finally starting to see months of hard work being translated on the pitch. This is the real storyline. A defense who was mistake-prone earlier in the year is now putting on world-class performances. Another player who's rising to the occasion is Franco Israel, who took over the starting goalkeeper position halfway through the year, and he's been sensational. The chemistry on the field has come a really long way, and Ronaldo is finally getting some help offensively as we're starting to see goal contributions from other players. The team coming together couldn't have happened at a better time because they were about to face their toughest challenge yet. With Manchester City being by far the most talented team in the world, they don't need any extra help scoring goals, so conceding a penalty only minutes into the game is far from the ideal start. And if Sporting are going to make the comeback, it surely won't be easy, as the pressure Manchester City is applying is something they've never faced before. If it wasn't for Franco Israel having the game of his life, this game would already be over. Still, we got to see an intense battle between the two teams, and similar to the quarterfinals against Chelsea, it would be Ronaldo's equalizing goal that would spark the momentum they needed, and it would be no different in this match, scoring his second goal of the night from a corner and heading to Manchester for the second leg up 2-1. However, if they were going to hold on to this lead, they would need a full team effort, and while Sporting's keeper was delivering another great performance, City's constant pressure would finally be rewarded, leading to not only 1 goal but 2, which means Ronaldo and Sporting find themselves down 3-2 on aggregate and on the brink of elimination. However, if there's one thing we've learned throughout the years, never doubt Cristiano Ronaldo in the Champions League, as he levels the game in the 87th minute. He's actually done it! Oh my god, we are headed to extra time. This is crazy. This game would eventually need penalties, and to be honest, with how good Franco Israel has been, this is Sporting's best chance at winning. Nobody has missed so far. I am so nervous. Cristiano Jr., what a penalty. Kovacic is up next. Franco with the save! And with the match ball potentially at his feet, St. Just would send Sporting into the finals. Oh my days, the quest for 6 is still alive! On the other side of the bracket, Milan were tasked with shutting down Mbappe at the San Siro and were able to erase a 2-0 deficit thanks in part to Rafael Leao. However, Dembele would prove to be too quick to handle, leading a late counterattack which would send PSG into the finals. With Ronaldo finally knowing who he'll be facing, the team is closing out their final game of the season, and with a 3-point difference standing between them and the leaders, they would need Benfica to drop points, which unfortunately did not happen. While they hoped for a different outcome, there's still a Champions League trophy to play for, and with the day finally here, the tension surrounding the stadium can be felt. While the result is yet to be known, there's one thing we do know. Ronaldo's career will ultimately come to a close tonight. Many people doubted his return to Europe, and very few believed he could even get this team out of the group stage.
There aren't many who would have Cristiano Ronaldo in the starting lineup.
But yet here they are playing in the finals and looking like they belong here, keeping possession of the ball, eventually leading to the first goal of the game, and for the first time in the knockout phase, they wouldn't be chasing a lead. However, PSG was one of the tournament favorites for a reason. One defensive mistake and they can punish you, and that's exactly what happened as Mbappe levels the game. The Sporting team of a few months ago would have crumbled after that goal. However, the experience gained over the last few months prepared them for moments like this, and instead of crumbling under the pressure, they would rise above it. And who else but Mr. Champions League himself to score the goal that restores the lead. With the trophy now in sight, they will need to survive the longest 20 minutes they've played all year, and if not for 2 final heroic moments, we might be looking at a different result. Goal line clearance! Pedro Goncalves just saved the game. With that being the final action of the game, the referee's whistle would finally be heard, officially making Sporting Champions League winners, and Ronaldo gets to lift his 6th and final UCL trophy. Ronaldo's final chapter has been written, and although this may be the end of one story, a new one has already begun.